What celebrity rumor did you hear privately long before the news broke?
Saw Bruce Willis' condition in 2015 working on a movie with him. They knew then already. He had giant cue cards for every scene and still blew it often. Very sad.
It wasn't a rumor. But I was an extra on an episode of Criminal Minds about 10 years ago. I noticed that A.J. Cook, who played JJ, would always wear this big, puffy jacket backwards between takes. It was April and pretty warm out. I remember thinking, she's got to be pregnant. Why else would you be wearing a big jacket that covered your front? About a month later, she would announce she is pregnant.
I have a friend who is in a moderately successful punk band and tours small venues around the country. A few years ago, he was in Austin and posted on Facebook something like, "I think I just saw a drunk Shia LaBeouf in a bar yelling, 'Do it' at people." A few hours later, I started seeing headlines that read Shia LaBeouf arrested at a bar in Austin.
Went to high school in Latin America from 98-02. There were rumors of Ricky Martin being gay long before he came out in 2010.
I went to college with a kid from Long Island who grew up around Lindsay Lohan. He said her family was completely insane and that she'd probably go insane too. Kind of happened, although she corrected course before it got real bad. He also said the dad used to boom boom every woman in town and use his daughter's clout to carouse with the women.
Around 2010, my friend, a massage therapist, had a guest staying in his hotel who creeped him out so much that he refused to service him again after the second day, even though the guy was leaving a €300 tip each session. When he told his manager he didn't want to work for this guest anymore, the manager was baffled and told him it was a celebrity staying for our hometown film festival. It was Kevin Spacey.
It wasn't long before the news broke, but I went to a Jonas Brothers concert and saw Joe wasn't wearing his wedding ring, and then a week later he filed for divorce.
30 Rock had a lot of Weinstein jokes a decade before he came out as a bad boy.
My friend and I got into an argument because I tried to tell her how horrible Ellen DeGeneres is, but she wouldn't believe me. I felt so vindicated when everything came out about her being a bully.
J.Lo and Ben Affleck's wedding in Vegas. A friend got married at the same place a few hours after they did, and someone who worked there showed them the marriage certificate. He told me about it before the news broke the next day.
This was a while ago, but I knew that Jennifer Lopez and Mark Anthony's marriage was in trouble years before they filed for divorce. A friend of my mother's works at Teterboro, which is the small airport near NYC that handles small/private planes, so lots of celebrities fly in and out of there. He's seen plenty of stuff, but this is the only story I know. Right when he opened the door to the plane onto the tarmac, he saw J.Lo recoiling from a slap across the face and Mark yelling, "There will be no divorce."
For many years there were articles and even podcast episodes claiming Will Smith and Jada didn't have your traditional hetero bang-bang monogamous relationship. When the slap happened at the Oscars, I remember thinking, yeah, that tracks with everything that I've heard.
When John Dunsworth, Mr. Leahy from Trailer Park Boys, died, he was a close family friend, so we knew when he went to the hospital, and then we were called when he died. So sad.
This was way before the internet, social media, and Twitter. When I was in college, a friend of mine that knew someone floored us with tales that Bobby Brown was dating Whitney Houston. At the time, Whitney was America's princess and Bobby Brown was the rough bad boy. Not a chance that Whitney would allow herself to be in the same room with that Bobby Brown. Not a single soul believed him and laughed him off campus. And then...
Well, everyone knew Kevin Spacey was gay before the allegations were made public. When he was artistic director of the Old Vic, it was an open secret that he was a frequent customer at several of London's gay saunas. I knew that, and I don't even live in the UK.
Not really a rumor, but when Michael Jackson died, I knew about 10 minutes before it went out on the news because my sister was a news reporter at BBC and texted the family before she went live.
Every woman in the comedy industry knew about Louis C.K. years before the general public did.
When I was a kid, I went to summer camp. One of the girls at camp lived near one of the golf courses where Tiger Woods would frequently play in tournaments. Everyone in the community knew he was sleeping with a number of different women.
I worked in Hollywood in VFX from 2009 to 2016. Everyone knew that both Will and Jada were hot dogs in an open marriage. Everyone I worked with thought it was hilarious when the Jada had an affair thing happened, with Will's crocodile tears broadcast to the world.
Rosie O'Donnell was gay. Not really a secret to anyone that knew her, just a secret to most Americans during her prime talk show days.
That Joss Whedon was a POS, particularly towards women that he worked with. That he repeatedly cheated on his wife and treated his APs terribly, very emotionally abusive. Very much the guy who couldn't get laid in high school and was gonna make everyone pay for it. Source: friends of friends who worked on Weddenverse projects.
Lived in NYC in the late 90s, early 2000s. We knew Trump and Giuliani were in bed the mafia, and that Trump was a crooked, cheating liar. Bruce Springsteen married model/actress Julianne Phillips in 1985. At his Tunnel of Love tour in 1987, he sang Tougher Than the Rest with his backup singer Patti Scialfa in a duet that was super hot. The chemistry was unmistakable, and I knew instinctively that his marriage was over. No surprise at all when the two of them were photographed on a hotel balcony in Italy months later with Bruce in his underwear.
I was aware Carrie Fisher had likely passed before the plane she passed on had taxied into the gate at LAX. Aviation is a small world.
That Tom Brady and his wife were getting divorced, it was all over Boston.
I know that an NFL quarterback who was busy transforming himself into a media personality actually plays for the pink team, as my cousin says. How does my cousin know that? Intimate knowledge.
That Olivia Wilde and Harry Styles were having an affair on the film set of Don't Worry Darling, and that she and Florence Pugh had a feud because of how unprofessional it was. I have a friend of a friend who is a production assistant living in the States, and they signed NDAs, but it all still came out. Still love all three of them though.